Hello, everybody. This is Mike from the Hey, Are You Still There podcast. My wife Beth and I would like to invite you to join us each week as we examine life at the intersection of marriage, family, careers, and ministry. Through 28 years of ministry, 26 years of marriage, 23 years of professional careers, and 21 years of being parents to 3 kids, our fun and honest discussions promise to have something for everyone. And now, on to the show.
Hello, everybody. This is Beth.
And Mike.
And this is the Hey, Are You Still There podcast.
See, that wasn't so hard, Beth.
Well, you had to prep me ahead of time how to say it, because I almost said, hello, everybody. This is Mike. Yeah.
Well, you want to be me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you took September 2025 of Mike Giannopoulos, I would inspire a lot of people with all that I've accomplished this month.
That is true. You have a lot. It is your month.
Maybe the most, is life-changing? Is that too heavy to say?
Oh, it's definitely changed your life and probably the lives of many others. Yes, this September. Not too heavy. It's not hyperbole. It is legitimately life-changing.
I've kicked it in the butt this month.
You have.
I hate to see this month go.
Book.
I wrote a book.
And how is that going?
The book is going very well.
And I just saw a hard copy, it's a softback, but it's an actual physical copy.
I finally got the physical copy. Other people had it before me.
Yeah.
But I finally got around to
But
it.
I had not seen it.
Yeah, I had not seen it. People sent me pictures, but
it looked awesome.
It looked good.
And you've sold a few more, right?
I've sold several. And so that's going well.
And gotten feedback.
5-star feedback. Lots of good positive feedback. I wish the people who sent me text would go on Amazon
and say those things.
Because
if you all listen on this podcast, please do that. If you send a text, just go copy and paste it into Amazon.
I've had sold so many books and so many people have texted me or told me how much they enjoy it. And I'm like, go tell the world.
Yeah.
Go tell Amazon. It's those 5-star reviews, which gets me boosted in their algorithm. Mm-hmm. So then I get suggested when other people are looking at certain kind of books.
And you get on New York Times best-selling list or something.
I'll be there one day.
Yes, exactly. Just like this podcast. Is there a New York Times best podcast list?
There might be something.
I don't know. We need to find out what it is and see where we are on that, you know? Yeah.
So
we also need people to do the reviews and the stars for that, don't we?
Yeah, nobody ever does that.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but if you're listening, go give us at least a star rating, hopefully a 5-star.
Not one. Let's get 5. If you're listening and you want to do a 1-star, just don't bother. That's cool. We're good with it. If you want to do a 5-star and say some nice stuff, definitely do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still thinking Katrina's son should do one officially.
We're going to make that a t-shirt.
Yes, I know. And so it needs to be an official review so we can make it a t-shirt.
When I make our t-shirt, I've already got it in mind. We'll have a logo of some sort on the front, and on the back, in quotations, it'll say, "This show is ridiculous, ... but pretty funny."
Yes.
And then it'll be by some teenage kid somewhere.
I love it. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I love it so much. We have to do it.
So I wrote a book. The store is going great. The comics booth.
And I can't remember if we've done a podcast since I saw
you. We have not.
I didn't think
no.
so. So I
finally went and saw it.
Yeah, because I was in town and got to stop by, and it looks so good. So for people who don't know you and didn't see the refrigerator years ago, we used to collect magnets from all the places we'd traveled. And I say used to because the refrigerator is full and there's no room for any more. Mm-hmm. And actually, it's an award-winning magnet collection. Mike won a blue ribbon in what used to be called the Dixie Classic Fair, and now is, what do they call it? The
politically correct fair.
Carolina something fair. Anyway, but your thing still says whatever. It still says Dixie Classic. It's hanging on our fridge, but you got first place for your magnet collection, which
Magnets
is not
from around the world was what I entitled it.
and it wasn't even all the magnets. Now, we do think that one of the things that really got that for us is in magnets around the world. Smack dab in the middle was a Winston-Salem magnet.
Yeah,
we
gotta
made
tug
sure.
at the
You gotta,
heartstrings
yeah,
of the
exactly. You
judges.
got to make sure they know. We think our hometown is world-worthy magnet stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, Mike's fridge was so like designed like in just such a structured, meticulous way. And so sometimes people would come like turn a magnet a little bit or twist it and just see how long it would take for you to figure it out. But I think
those people were never invited back to my house.
that's true. So if you want to make sure you're never invited back, that would be one way.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting is your store, I think, reflects that because it's so
Because
neat.
it's very anal and OCD.
But it looks so good. I mean that in like a positive way. So like as soon as you see the walk-in part, first of all, it's fun because you've got some of the posters like Maria and you have collected over the years to kind of decorate. And then everything is just so neat and orderly, like your comic books and they're labeled. And I mean, I guess I knew you would have to literally have labeled every comic, but with the price because it's not your store alone. They have to know it's yours. But goodness gracious, the amount of time that had to go into that when I saw that.
I mean, I have labeled no less than 1,800 comics.
Yeah, that blew my mind. And it's all so neat and orderly and fun. And it was funny because when we walked through, there was some kid, teenage guy and girl, and she was like, this shop has everything. And she was like in a vintage clothing section of the shop. And he was just standing there like holding the stuff she's looking at. And I wanted to be like, hey, there's a really cool booth back here if you want to come. So I think too, again, this is a little area where anybody could go and look. And you've got more than just the comics. You've got like, some of the other fun, like
books
pop
and
figures and
albums
books and
and
CDs
toys
and vinyls. I mean, so just really neat stuff. But it's just laid out so great. It looks really fun. It looks really good.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah, if there were reviews for that, I'd give you a 5-star on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had said for this first month especially, I had said, all right, I need to make this much per month.
Mm-hmm.
One, to break even, but also a little more to make it worth my while.
Yeah, because if you're labeling 1,800 comic books, I mean, I would like it if you got paid more than like 1 cent per hour of your time or something
Now,
on average.
I'm multitasked.
Yeah.
We play BGA every night,
While you're
as we
doing
talked
it.
about.
Yeah.
And so I've sat up there in that office while we're playing BGA with Ross. And as we're playing, I'm bagging, I'm putting labels on them, I'm doing all this stuff. So
It's also
I'm
giving us
using
the
my time
opportunity
wisely.
to use hey, are you still there from time to time on you? Because you
Yes.
might be a little distracted over
distracted.
there. Yeah, so we get to actually use that little saying on the BGA. But yeah.
So, so I made more than I had hoped for the first week, and I made more than that the second week. So I've had already my first 2 weeks, I feel I've been very profitable.
So I hope it'll continue that way. But it looks really good. And so that's quite the accomplishment, too, because that was a lot of work.
Yeah, I should have put it on my Big 12.
Yeah, you should have.
I should kick something off my Big 12 and add that. Can I do that?
Yeah, sure. Sure, Big 12. Do we get to talk about anything else about your Big 12?
There's a couple more Big 12. So you ran a marathon.
Yes.
And that was
half marathon.
Half marathon.
Yeah.
We talked about that last
Maria
week.
just asked me to do a marathon, but I said, first I said, yes, maybe. And then I said no after I thought about it. But anyway.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I can't do that. Yeah.
So you last week, well, I guess by the time this comes out, it'll be 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You ran a half marathon in California at Disney. And we talked about that last week on the podcast, which got really good remarks from people.
Oh, did we?
Yeah,
I
they
didn't know
enjoyed
that. I didn't know anybody
I heard from
did.
several people that said they found it very enlightening, and it just reminded them why they would never run a half marathon.
Oh. I thought you were going to say people were inspired. Like,
no,
sign me
if there was a way
up.
to despire people, that's what you did.
Yes, I am having. So people need to come to me to help have the opposite effect. I feel like sometimes I would do that for people who thought they wanted to go to law school. I mean, not that I was intentionally trying to talk them out of it, but sometimes I'd be like, well, you have to do this and this and this and this. And then by the end, they'd be like, yeah, I don't think I want to do that anymore. So that's what I am for half marathons.
Yeah.
I am that person who's going to convince you just not to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then one of my big 12 was to run a 5K. And so you and I went to the beach last weekend. Just it was
a long weekend.
Long weekend. First time we've gotten away.
Or short weekend. It wasn't long.
I mean,
It went by
Friday,
too
Saturday,
fast.
Sunday,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And first time you and I have gotten away since the winter.
Yeah.
Just me and you without any kids or anybody else.
And also the first time we've been to the North Carolina coast in, I don't know how long. Yeah.
Years, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because I don't, Maria went to Wilmington and we went to the coast one day while we, I think we sat
and couldn't find parking because it was
but
so
that didn't
busy.
really count.
Yeah,
but
that
as far
can't
as
count.
so anyway,
Staying,
I had booked a place at the beach on North Carolina beach at the coast for just a little weekend getaway. And one of the things that I put on my Big 12 was to run a 5K. And I know there's no half marathon, but I'm not a runner. I've only run one 5K in my life, and it was about 12 years ago or so. And so I was like, I'd like to challenge myself. And, I was 12 years younger, probably 20 pounds lighter. I mean, I was in better shape. I didn't, but so it just so happened that at this beach where we're at, they were doing a 5K. And so we ran it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, do you want to talk about what it was like? It was something.
Like what?
Well, how we placed. I think
there was 101 people in this 5K. I think, I'm not even going to say you finished this because you took mercy on me and went along. And I kept saying, Beth, just go. Just go. You could have placed in this 5K because it was an old person 5K.
Yeah.
And I was like, just go. And you were like, no, I'm going to run with you. And that's what I did was I jog a little bit, walk a little bit because I'm not a runner. And my body hurts. I have not taken care of my body over the years with sports and everything else. And so I've got bad joints and a bad back and I'm old, I'm 51. And so I had a very slow pace and, we finished in the 90s out of the 101, probably 94-ish, 95 maybe. The two people I thought was funny was a woman passed us. She was pushing a stroller with a kid in it and had about a 6-year-old by the hand.
Yeah.
And so they passed us. And then the worst was about a 85-year-old man that literally could not even stand up straight.
He kind of shuffled his feet when he ran instead of like fully picking them up.
And he
it's
was
like
hunched
the shuffle.
over.
Yeah.
And he passed us.
And my favorite was, though, so I'm smiling. I get to the water station and they're like, oh, you're smiling. This is be great. But I mean, because I'd done the half marathon and stuff, the 5K, I was like, this is fine. And I was trying to talk to you about different things like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And you were like, just stop talking to me.
I needed every breath I could take. I could not waste any breath on talking. I was killing myself.
Yeah. So I was just like, well, okay.
I felt like it was physically the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Well, I just think it was like, I guess I could have kept up a constant stream of chatter if you weren't expected to respond. But the problem was I was expecting you to verbally use some of that breath to speak back. And that
all I could do was grunt. It was bad. I was just, I was like, golly.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but I did a 5K.
Yeah.
And I got it checked off my Big 12
And now you're going to
list.
train for a 10K and then a half. Yeah.
That's it.
You're done.
Hanging up my running shoes.
Yeah. You're done.
So I knocked it out.
Yeah.
So that was that. So that left 3 things on my Big 12 after the race. I had 3 things left. One was go tent camping.
Yeah.
So we've done tent camping before. I took, when I was a youth pastor, I took the youth camping and we tent camped. I went tent camping. Beth and I did on the Appalachian Trail with a church group one time.
And that was one where you actually had to pack up your tent each night and carry it with you.
Yeah, it was about, it was a weekend hike.
Yeah.
It was a hike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Set up tent.
Yeah.
Pack
Tear
up,
down.
hike some more.
Mm-hmm.
The youth one wasn't. It was just, we set up and stayed there for the weekend and we did stuff. But yeah, so I don't know why. I just was like, I think I'd like to try that again, maybe just even by myself. I asked you if you would go tent camping with me at the beach, and you gave me a resounding
Absolutely
no.
not. Because, as we've talked about, wasn't that one of our podcasts about how bugs like me?
I could have knocked off one of my Big 12 just by tent camping at the beach.
Well, it's a good thing that we didn't, because I got like 40 bug bites anyway. And so I can't imagine if I was camping. I mean, so no, I can't do that. If I'm going to tent camp, it needs to be like the dead of winter when insects can't get me.
It'll be too cold for you.
No, it won't. Then you just wear warm stuff. I'm just saying, I can't do it when there's still mosquitoes and things like that are out.
So I still need a tent camp.
Mm-hmm.
This one I didn't think was going to be hard, but it is. Visit a state I haven't been to.
Right.
My states that I haven't been to, it's like Oregon, Washington.
I've been there.
So the Northwest.
Yeah, but you haven't.
The far Northeast.
I've done most of that, but you haven't.
Vermont.
Yeah.
Maine. Like that. Those.
Of course, Alaska. We need to do Alaska.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the flyover states. Like
both of us need those. We need
Iowa, Missouri.
Yep. We need
Kansas.
Arkansas.
No, I've been to Kansas.
We need,
Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa.
Yeah,
Those
I need
three.
Kansas still.
Yeah.
You don't. So
and Oklahoma you need.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that makes it a little challenging for both of us too. We don't need the exact same states. Like Pacific Northwest, I'm done with, but like.
Have you been to Vermont?
No, Vermont's one I have not done, but I've done like Maine and all, like Massachusetts. I've done all of those.
Remind me after the podcast. I might have a way for us to go to Vermont for a weekend.
Yes, and then I will have another one checked off the list. Yes,
that's my goal is to go 12 for 12.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I'm going to go 12. I'm going to go 13 for 12.
Oh, there you go. Overachiever. Yes, I got it.
Starting my own business. But the third that I had not done behind tent camping and visiting another state was get a tattoo.
Yes.
That's something you and I have talked about many times.
Mm-hmm.
We should get a tattoo.
Yep.
And both of us agree we're not opposed to the idea of tattoos. We just want them to be something meaningful.
Right. And people who know me, I can be not only indecisive, but then change my mind. And like what I love one minute, I might not. And so we both know, though, our family's meaningful. So that's something that, like, at least that's a given that's meaningful. But it's hard to pin down, like, what do you want it to be?
Right.
Yeah.
And so, like some people get nature stuff, right? Well, I like nature. Like I'm fine with birds and reptiles and animals, but there's none that I love enough to like put on my body.
Well, except Cam, maybe. Yeah. Anyway.
Put him on my butt. And then, some people do like things they like. Like, for example, there's people who have Pearl Jam tattoos or Spider-Man or Batman tattoos.
Yeah.
Maria, our daughter, has an Ahsoka tattoo.
Yeah, from Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to do that because I didn't invent that.
Right.
That's just, at the end of the day, it's just a corporation.
Right.
Even bands are a corporation. They're just in it. They haven't done, I've given them money.
Right. They haven't given you anything.
They've given me maybe some joy or some happiness momentarily, but they hadn't changed my life.
Right.
So
not like your book has changed people's lives.
That's right.
Yes.
That's what I should have got a tattoo
of your book.
My book cover, the big sword. So we've talked about it for a long time, debated tattoos, get them or not, and so I didn't tell anybody, but a couple of years ago, I finally came up with an idea of what I wanted if I ever got a tattoo. I even went so far to scour the internet and find some pictures, some clip art that would show a tattoo artist, generally, this is what I'm thinking of.
Mhm.
And so we made this Big 12 list, and I said, get a tattoo. And no one commented. You knew that was on there, but you never
Yeah.
said, are you really going to get a tattoo or what?
Right.
I mean, it wasn't even brought up. Did you think I would or wouldn't?
Well, I thought you would probably, but it's also one of those things. I do feel like that. I mean, not that everything's not very personal, but I feel like it's quite the, personal thing. And that's not something I would want anybody to feel pressured to do just to meet a deadline. I would want you to know you felt good about it. So that's why I just didn't ask. Yeah. But I didn't know, too, I guess, how serious that one was on your list,
If I put it on the list, it was serious.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, what, so anyway, we have a friend. We'll call her Laura. Laura has some tattoos, and I love Laura's tattoos. They're very meaningful. She has a good story behind each of them. And the person who does her tattoos does really good work. I like the style of her tattoos. So I made a decision early on that if I was going to get a tattoo, I was going to get it by this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so we made this list. I put it on there, and I just decided this spring or summer, I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to this guy. So the name of the tattoo place is like Deja Vu Tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it in the link, and this is the owner. His name's Joe. And Joe does Laura's tattoos. And so I reached out to him. I told him who I was and how I knew him through Laura. And, told him my idea. I said, here's what I'm thinking. I shared it with him. He emailed me back. I was like, yeah, man, that sounds great. I can do that. Let's plan it. And so we had it planned to do prior to Roatan.
Mm-hmm.
And things happened and Joe had to cancel. And then, so we rescheduled it for the week of my birthday. Some things came up and Joe had to cancel again. And so it was just two things. I mean, I'm not saying he's a great guy. I think he was very professional.
Mm-hmm.
It was just,
Life.
sickness and
Yeah.
life. I mean, things
Mm-hmm.
happen,
Yeah.
and so it kept getting pushed back. And so we, then he went to the beach and we went to the beach. And so there was just scheduling
Mm-hmm.
stuff too. So finally we were able to nail down a date, and the date was this past Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I had told you I had a meeting in Winston,
Yes.
and, nobody knew I was going to get this tattoo outside of Laura.
Mm-hmm.
Laura was the only one. But Laura, because I had to talk to her about Joe, I had to find out where this place was and whatnot. But she didn't know what I was going to get. Nobody knew what I was going to get, except for Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And so I show up and, meet him. We talk a little bit. He shows me some things that he's drawn to say, hey, is this kind of what you're thinking about? And so we go through, we make a few little tweaks, and we decide, all right, this is it. And I think what he came up with is exactly what I had in my mind. Exactly. So what did I get? Well, I'll post the pictures so everybody can see it on our Facebook page. But what I got on my right forearm, so pretty much from elbow to wrist.
Yeah, it's a lot bigger than I thought it would be.
It is a big tattoo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have 3 arrows, and all 3 cross, and they're tied in the middle. And each arrowhead is unique, and the way it's shaped or carved or whatnot. And in each arrowhead is carved a letter. I have a J, an M, and a J. You don't see it just by glancing.
Yeah,
You've
but
got to
when
look.
you look at it,
When
you
you
see
look
it,
at it,
yeah.
you see it,
Mhm.
and then you can't not see it.
Yeah.
But it looks like part of the carving in the arrowhead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then for Jacob, Maria, and Josh, our 3 kids. And then the part where the arrows are tied together, they're tied together with a rope. And the rope is a very subtle capital B from
Mhm.
Beth.
And it looks really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then underneath that, it says Psalm 127. And in Psalm 127, I'll paraphrase. It talks about how blessed is the father that whose children are like arrows in the hand of a warrior, that they're fired off into the world. And, I think it says something, the enemy will not be able to hold them in court, something like that. Psalms, the book of Psalms and all the chapters are very poetic.
Yeah.
And so, however it's worded, but I always like that imagery and of arrows as kids, and blessed is the father who has children who are like arrows in the hand of a warrior. And so that's what I got. So I got a pretty good sized tattoo on my right forearm.
And it looks really good.
Of these tattoos.
Looks really, really good.
Do I look manlier with it?
Well, you asked me that. I mean, I guess. I don't know that it makes you look manlier. I mean, but it's a really nice tattoo.
Do I look sexier?
Yes, sure.
Are you more attracted to me? I mean, I don't know what women think when they see guys with tattoos. Are you like, dang, my man's got a tattoo?
No, but I mean, I like that this tattoo is, I like things that are symbolic and meaningful. So I like the way this has sort of the symbolism. It's a poetic picture, essentially. I like that, because it's got it implies different things and has a story, and I really like it. I think it looks really nice, and I love just all of it. And you picked a good location for it. I mean, it looks good on that part of your body and stuff.
I was going to go with the tramp stamp, and I decided not to.
Yeah, that was probably...
Get this across my lower back?
Yeah, this is better.
I did... I showed my mom, right? So the only people who have physically seen it are you and the kids. Well, and even Jacob just saw a picture of it because he's away this weekend doing some more field research down at Kiowa Island. So Maria, Josh, and Beth are the only ones that have physically seen it. So today, my mom was coming over to the church. My mom cleans the church once a week. And so I called her and I said, "Are you going to the church today?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Look, I'm going to stop by, but I need to mentally prepare you for something." And she was like, "What's wrong with the church?" I was like, "There's nothing wrong with the church. It's me." "What did you break? Are you in a cast?" I'm like, "No, I'm not in a cast."
It'd have been more likely you'd have blown out your knee than been in a cast.
Right,
but anyway.
and so I said, "I got a tattoo."
Mm-hmm.
She lost it. She was like, "Michael," kind of that mother. She was like, "Oh, why did you do that?" And she was driving actually to church at the time. And my mom was like, "Why did you tell me that while I'm driving?" She was just like stunned. She was like, "What? You never even talked about getting a tattoo," and she was blown away. Mm-hmm. She was speechless and she couldn't believe it. And, when she comes, and and I was raised this way, that your body's the temple of God and you don't tattoo it,
Mm-hmm.
at least that was the interpretation of...
Back in the day.
Of old school Baptist preachers.
And maybe some people still, that's their thing.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she started to bring that up a little bit, just in jest. And I was like, "Look, we're just going to have to agree to disagree because I don't think that's biblical." So, and I told her, I was like, "This is something I've been thinking about for years. Finally came up with something." And blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, "Well, where is it?" And I was like, it's on my forearm. And she said, "Oh, like Maria's?" I was like, "No, Maria's is on her wrist." Mm-hmm. I was like, "Mine is my entire forearm." And I don't think she believed me until I showed up at church to show her. And she was like, "Oh," she was like, "I did not think it was going to be that big." Mm-hmm. And it's a good sized tattoo. Yeah. And, but at the end, she said, "Are you happy with it?" I said, "I'm happy." And Mom said, "If you're happy, I'm happy."
Right.
So, but I did get to get on her skin a little bit because, as
that's
she
just
puts
how
it,
you get your kicks.
I am the way that I am.
Yes. Why are you the way that you are?
That's what she asked
is the
me
question.
That time. Yeah. I said, "Mom," I was like, you're the one." She's like, "Why did you get one so big for your first tattoo?" I said, "You taught me, go big or go home." And if anybody knows my mom is the total opposite of that.
Yeah.
And Mom was like, I did not. I was like, you used to tell me that all the time. I never told you that. I was like, Mom, you told me. And by the way, you lived your life. You lived in a way that was go big or go home.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I am the opposite of go big. So anyway, that's what I'm going to tell people is that
It's because your mom.
I'm inspired by my mom.
Right. Yep. I love it, though. I think it looks great.
When are you getting yours?
Oh, I have no idea. That's what I was saying when you've already asked me about that. And I was like, I don't even have a concept in my head outside of something to do with my family, kind of like you have, like initials or something. I have no idea what I would get. I mean, there's lots of things I like, but I really have no idea what I would get.
But what I love about this now, and I've already said this a few times, is I can say to the kids, you know what parent loves you the most by which parent has literally has you permanently engraved on their body.
Do you know what I would say? I permanently have their cells in my body. There are research studies about how when you carry a baby, their cells remain in your body.
Oh,
so I'm sorry, this is as close as you can get to biologically having what I have.
Is some science mumbo jumbo you just made up.
I know. I'm just saying you're just jealous, and I'm glad that you found a way to feel connected, but I carry them inside my heart.
I found a way for them to physically see Dad loves me more, and that therefore I will love him more.
I carry them inside of my heart, and they know through.
Anytime we're fighting with the kids and they're having to choose between me or you for whatever reason, all I'm going to do is drop this forearm and look at it. And they're going to know I got to go with that.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to get like my entire arm from shoulder to wrist with or maybe their entire name.
I don't know if you could handle the pain.
Oh, I could handle the pain. You said that your tattoo artist said that women have no problem. It's the dudes that have the problem.
He
so
said,
don't talk to me about pain.
People are going to ask. They always ask, did it hurt?
Yeah.
I would say it was a weird kind of hurt. Yes, you knew it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bit of a pain there. It wasn't excruciating. It wasn't unbearable.
Right.
But it was an aggravating pain.
Yeah.
Like, oh, when is this going to stop?
Yeah.
And some parts of my arm were more tender than others, which he said down near the wrist is very tender. Mm-hmm. You start going up the forearm a little more, it's not as tender. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to hurt as bad. He compared it to, and I agree with him 100% when he said this, it's like a cat scratch on sunburn. Mm-hmm. You get sunburn and your skin's sensitive, and then you get anything like a cat scratch or something, just pokes it. It kind of hurts. But it was weird because as he was doing it, anytime the needle was like doing its thing, like however it does to drive in the ink in your skin, he would pull it away and there was no pain. Mm-hmm. So it's not a lingering pain.
It's just while it's happening.
Just while it is happening, it hurts. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as he stops, pulls it away, there's no pain at all. And it hasn't hurt since. So I asked him, I said, I think I said, do you have anybody that ever passes out or anything? And he's like, yeah, most time it's young dudes. And he was like, women have no problem with tattoos. He's like, they're just built different. He was like, they can handle it. Yeah. He said, old dudes like us, they can handle it because they've lived through life and they've felt pain. And this is no big deal. Mm-hmm. He's like, you get some young guy in here, 18, 20-year-old that hadn't lived and he thinks he's all something. He goes, those are always the ones that get lightheaded, or it hurts too bad, they pass out. So I love that.
I will say one thing too, you know how your phone's always spying on you so it can like put things in your algorithm. I just saw a story that you've just protected yourself even more from skin cancer. It was some type of article and it was like people with tattoos less likely to get skin cancer. I didn't read the article. I don't know if this was a study of 5 people. I don't know if it's a legitimate scientific study,
It was
but
probably put out by Tattoo Magazine.
yeah, probably. But what
Or the same scientists that claim you have our kids' cells inside of you.
But I'm going to find that. But anyway, the first thing that I thought was it's probably because, though, you do more sunblock and you try to protect it. And that's what a lot of people said. Because that was the question I asked you. Because right now, one of your things is you're going to avoid the sun. I asked you if you wanted to go hiking with me. You said you had to avoid sweating. I probably will ask all the other people that have tattoos if that's true. Because I don't know if you really have to avoid sweating.
That's what he said. He was like, don't sweat on it for a week.
Okay. Well, anyway, it sounds like a reasonable way for you to get out of hiking with me.
Have to keep it glazed with Aquaphor.
Yeah. So yeah.
I'm happy with it.
I love it. I think it looks great. It's fabulous. It's really good. So it has been a very eventful week, month, whatever.
September.
Yeah. It's your month.
I have staked my flag in September 2025.
Yeah.
This is
your month, your year. Yep. I like it.
Yep. So knocked out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, we went to the beach. We had a fight. Not with each other.
Yes, this fight, we were aligned, you
with
and I.
Our landlord.
Yep, would love to know what our listeners think about this.
Yeah, so we go to the beach, and it's just Beth and I.
I had asked because, as we know, prepared packer, I had said, Mike, do I need to pack linens, towels, beach towels, anything?
Yeah, so this was a VRBO, Vacation Rent by Owner. We've used this service
before
for 20 years. However long it's been around, we've been using it. We've rented umpteen million places. So I didn't rent anything super fancy. I knew it wanted to be right at the beach, and we were just on the other side of the street. So we could just literally walk across the street. There was a public beach access, and we're on the beach within 20 seconds we could be on the beach. And we didn't need anything big because it was just you and I.
Yeah.
So it was just a nice 1-bedroom little cottage right there at the beach. In the description, because Beth did ask me, and I always look to see if linen, I don't rent a place where we have to bring crap.
Because there's also places too where even if they don't provide them, they say you can rent the linens. So we always know, it's not like we're like, we don't know how linens work. Anyway, have to get that out there.
Yeah. So even when Beth asked me, I was like, I wouldn't have rented a place if it didn't have linens. So I went and looked, and on the thing it says linens provided.
Yeah, because it had something like essentials. And
essentials,
it listed
linens
all
provided.
The stuff. Yeah.
So we roll in, we get to the place. And the place on VRBO is a perfect 10.
Yeah.
He or she is a premier renter or whatever. I mean, it's the highest that VRBO gives. They had a perfect rating, 10 out of 10. And so when we got there, the place was nice. It was really a nice place. It was cute, decorated well. It looked like it had been recently updated or renovated. It was right across from it was as advertised.
Yeah.
So we go to wash our hands, one of us, and there's no hand towel.
Yeah.
So I think it was you. And you were like, me. Mike, can you find where the towels are?
Yeah.
So I look. I can't find any towels. Look and look and look. No towels. There's no hand towels, no washcloths, no bath towels. There's paper towels.
Yeah.
But that's it. So I messaged the guy. I said, well, I don't know. Maybe the cleaning people just forgot to bring them.
Yeah.
I don't know what their deal is. And so I messaged the guy, and I'm like, hey, look, we're here. The place looks great. And in the place, and it had sheets. Everything was there but towels. I said, there's no towels. He said, yeah, towels aren't included. I was like, well, and I told him, I was like, I'm a little disappointed because you did not say that on your listing. He was like, yes, I did. I was like, no, you didn't. And we started sending him I was like, where do I find this at? He said, under essentials.
And you not only looked on your phone, I asked you to send the link to me because sometimes weird stuff happens like with your login or whatever. And I read every detail of that website I could find.
I should have told him. I've had my lawyer look at this.
And it said linens provided.
Yes, I sent him screenshots. I said, it says linens provided. I said, I've rented from VRBO a million times. whenever it says linens provided, that doesn't mean just sheets. It means all the towels and all that stuff.
And I Googled, and according to Google,
yes, according to Google AI,
incorporates sheets and towels. Yes.
So he said, no, it says linens provided, but bring your own towels. I said, no, it doesn't. And then he tried telling me, he's like, well, I'm looking at it right now, and it says it does.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't know what you're looking at, because I'm looking at it, and I kept sending him screenshots. I'm like, it doesn't. And so we ultimately had to.
Before even that, a screenshot of thing that we found nowhere on the website. So we speculated that he had either an old screenshot or that he had updated something on his end that they didn't. So, because screenshots, it can be hard to capture everything, I screen recorded myself. I opened the link with screen recording on and went through slowly the entire listing and went through essentials, clicked on the links to go to other things so that he could see, because he was nice, but I almost felt like it's one of those situations where he's like, well, I don't know what you're seeing because this is what I have. And we're like, what else do we have to do to prove it? So I thought this whole screen recording, and we sent him the screen recording from my phone that showed that.
Yeah.
But so then in the end, we didn't. So then we had to figure out, where are we going to go? We had to go to Dollar General. And because we didn't want to spend a lot on towels. So we just went in and got some towels, and the cheaper ones were dark blue. Well, that was a bit of a mistake, and I suspected it could be a little problematic. But when we took a shower, we both had dark blue lint all over us.
We should have put the $10 we spent on towels and washcloths.
Yes.
And just bought $10 worth of paper towels.
Yeah, because
it was terrible.
We had so much lint. And
it was the worst towels
so you can imagine
I've ever seen in my life.
So then we had to use that as a beach towel.
Yeah.
Because I did not even bring a beach towel. So we had to go out to the beach with these bath towels, essentially, that were linty. So then we were like, okay, we're going to have to go wash
we bought
these.
2 sets. I don't want people to think that we're taking a shower and then taking a towel.
We bought a separate.
We bought
towel
4 towels.
Yeah. So
2 for the beach, 2 for the shower.
And then hand towels and washcloths. And then, so then we were like, well, we've got to go wash these. Well, they were all blue except for one. I bought one that was tan because they only had so many blue. We actually had 5 towels. And so we had to go take part of our time too. So we had to take part of our vacation as soon as we got there to go buy towels. And then after using the towels the first time and realizing that that is not going to work, we had to go wash them. To tell you how linty it was, when we pulled out the tan towel, it was like blue. It was no longer tan.
We had to wash and dry them twice to get the majority of the lint out of it.
But for me, I'm still frustrated because I'm like, I understand you think it doesn't say that. But if you have a customer that has gone to the lengths of sending you a screen recording that proves what we saw, and it clearly under essentials said linens provided, I can't help it that whatever he had, and he even said to you, this happened one time before or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just so frustrating because it would have been no problem at all for me to throw towels in if I had known, but I didn't know, so I didn't. And, yes, I may over-prepare, but, we were only going to be there a few days. I was trying not to super-duper overpack. And so that, to me, it made you question, did they think linens only mean sheets? But linens are towels, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but there was no resolution from him. He was not very helpful.
No.
So,
yeah,
so that was our linen debacle.
Yes.
A couple things to rewind a couple weeks, Beth, that I don't think you and I have had a chance to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
We have a couple of polls that we put out this month on our Facebook page. We had the discussion of birthdays. Remember that?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Do you just come off of Jacob's birthday?
Yes,
we
how
talked
important
about
it was. And by the way, we still have not celebrated it.
It's past.
We're going a month in almost.
It's way past.
Mm-hmm.
Our birthday's a big deal. Do you celebrate every year? Do you only celebrate on milestones, or are they no big deal at all? So I asked our listeners, and I'll admit I was in a minority.
Yes, I am not surprised.
I was wrong.
Yes.
As far I was, I was wrong.
Yes, you were wrong.
There was no right or wrong to this.
No,
I was
wrong
wrong in what I assumed people would think.
I just knew people love birthdays.
51% of people said every year is a big deal.
Even my Aunt Betty, she believed everybody deserved like a birthday cake. My Aunt Betty, before she died, that was one of her things.
Well, I mean, giving somebody a birthday cake is one thing. I'm talking about, you don't need to have it all like,
but
we need to get everybody together and have
cake for Jacob.
Well, it's his own fault.
No, it's, oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, keep going. Not gonna.
So 51% of the people said it was every year is a big deal.
Yeah.
27% said not a big deal.
The Scrooges of birthdays.
But you had opposites, Yeah. And then in the middle, the lowest percentage at 22%, only for certain milestone years.
No, I thought the other one was 22%. They're both 22%?
No.
Oh.
27 for not a big deal.
22
for only certain milestones.
And that was you.
That was me.
Yeah. That was.
And whoever else voted in it.
Yeah.
But so.
One other person.
People they're either one or the other.
Yeah.
It's.
Celebrate
them all or don't celebrate.
Yeah, but there's no middle ground.
Very little. Mm-hmm. That's the smallest. 22% said that.
Yeah.
I put up another poll this past week based on what you had discussed with your half marathon. And I just asked people, what's the longest race you've run? Not surprisingly, let me give you, I asked people, I said a 5K, 10K, half marathon, or to the fridge and back. And not surprisingly, the 5K is first.
Yeah.
36% of people said that's the longest they've run. So there's that. Second was a half marathon at 24%, barely beating out to the fridge and back at 23%.
So our listeners really are pretty divided on this too. You have the I run or I don't run crowd. Yeah.
Yep. And then marathon was 11% and 10K was 6%. So I guess people feel like, well, if I'm going to run a 10K, I might as well
do a half. But even though a half is double.
A 10K is half a half.
Yeah. I think also 10Ks, that to me is not as popular a race. They're not offered as much, So I will say if I were going to do a Disney race, I probably wouldn't bother with a 5K. It'd be so short. You're not enjoying the Disney stuff. I think you at least got to do a 10K or a half if you're doing a Disney race.
Shelly wanted to know why we didn't have 50-yard dash on there because she did that in 4th grade and that was as far as she's ever run.
I love that. I love it. Field day. She did field day. I bet.
It reminds me of that Nate Bargatze. He does a thing where he says, he talked about how out of shape he is.
Yeah.
And he said, I was watching a football game. They did the kickoff. I stood up, went to my kitchen to get something to drink, came back, and the guy had caught and ran down the field and scored a touchdown. And he was like, he ran 100 yards faster
than I could get to my refrigerator.
Get to my fridge
and back. Yeah.
And he was like, the only thing stopping me was an Audubon. He's like, the only thing. And so that's some updates there on some of our recent poll questions.
Are we going to poll people about the linens, or do you think that's just such a given that it has to include towels?
I don't know. What's there to ask about?
Yeah,
there?
do you think linens include towels? Do you think were we treated poorly?
I think it could be something that has to do with the tattoo.
Yeah. Oh,
what
yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, you could definitely do something with the tattoo for sure. Yeah.
I don't know. Would you ever get a tattoo?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or what part of your body would you be most likely to get a tattoo? Or I don't know, something like that. We'll think about that.
Yeah.
We'll have to ponder these things.
Yeah.
Speaking of birthdays, as we're talking right now, the big 51 balloons are still up. Are we just going to leave those up indefinitely?
My plan was to leave them up through your birthday.
so thoughtful.
We have giant. How big do you think those are? 2 feet tall?
Yeah.
At least 2 feet. Yeah, I'd say at least 2 feet. A 5 and a 1 that Maria had blown up, and it's hanging in our kitchen. They're huge. And that was on August 15th. Mm-hmm. And we're going to leave those up till the end of October, which is your birthday. So they'll be up for quite a while.
Another quite an aside.
2.5 months.
You were talking about birthdays, and it made me think about cake. But we had small group at our house, and our friend Kim brought these cupcakes. And what did she say they were?
I don't remember. Apple cider or something.
And then they had cream cheese icing. which is my favorite. I've told her if she put the cream cheese icing in a toothpaste tube, I would go each day and just squeeze like a chunk of it into my mouth. But then she'd also drizzled caramel over it. And I had the worst day ever, and the worst few days. And so one of the people, so I just jokingly said, if anyone doesn't like icing, I'll eat your icing. And then sure enough, Chris was like, I don't like icing. You would have thought it was my birthday. I was so excited. I was like, you have made my night. So I got to have not only the cupcake, but I got to get all of his icing off. So I've decided that for any event that could involve cake, Chris is the person that I want to make sure is there, because I will be able to eat myself plus have the additional icing.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Wow.
And Kim said that like it was, quote, relaxing to bake and do this. I was just like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
As we talked about, the only time I'm in the kitchen is when I accidentally step in the kitchen playing pickleball.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. That's all you know.
I have been working on my pickleball stuff. We've tried to change up my serve a little bit.
Yeah, we
that
played
way we saw some
pickleball
other
at the
people
beach.
playing. Yeah, we saw some people. I don't know how to describe it, the way they were kind of doing the bounce serve. And I tried that a little bit. So we'll see. I mean, if that improves my game.
Maybe that's why I was so worn out. We went and played pickleball that morning before I ran my 5K.
But we just warmed up. We were just like serving and bouncing it back and forth.
I don't know, Beth. Maybe I put more into it than you did.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, when it was funny though, because at one point, as we were nearing the end, well, maybe we were halfway through, and you were like, are we last? And I looked around and I didn't see anybody. And I said, I think we are. And then I turned around and looked and I said, oh, I see some people, but they may have lapped us.
Yeah, we did get lapped.
Yeah, that was the other thing. So it was like, I can't tell if we're truly last and we've been lapped, or if there may be 3 people who are also behind us. And maybe they're the people who just, truly don't care or whatever. But yeah. It was... But you finished, and that's what counts. You did it. You finished it. Yeah. So I'm proud of you for all of your many accomplishments.
This has been a good month.
Yeah, it has been. For you.
Yeah.
Not so great for me, but a good one for you.
Well, maybe next month's your month, Beth.
We'll see.
Maybe you need to go get a tattoo.
I have a lot. To keep up with you, it'll take a lot to keep up with all that.
Yeah.
And I don't have any ideas for a store, so I don't think I'm going to do that one. That's not my thing at all, so that won't be happening. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That's about all I got. What do you think? Anything else for you, Beth?
I don't think so. We had a fun baptism at church. That was fun.
Yeah, we did a baptism at church on Sunday.
In a pool.
We came back from the beach and got straight in the pool.
Yeah. And I will say one embarrassing thing. I forgot that I had on like a Wicked Weed Brewery t-shirt because we'd driven back. So I showed up at the baptism with that on. I was like, I think I'm getting to that, like, I'm 50. I don't care anymore age. I was just like, sorry, everybody.
Yeah, you may be the first pastor's wife on earth to wear a beer shirt to a baptism.
I was like, and I was horrified, but I looked down and I was like, oops, like I didn't mean to. But I did do that. So those are little slip-ups by Beth that I've made lately. So,
well, next month could be a big month for you because you've been writing a book inspired by me. You've now been writing a book, and so you're almost done with it. And so hopefully sometime in October it'll be published, right?
Yes.
So there you go.
Do I need to tell anybody what it is?
Sure, you can talk it up.
Okay. Well, so in the past, I did a few times. My friend Jenny and I used to do this thing called Verse Girls, and we would take a book of the Bible and we would just chunk up the verses and we would just write a reflection every day. Well, then at one point we thought about doing something for Advent, and she and I did something together. And then Jenny, moved and got really, really busy. And so I think it was last year I decided that I would try to do an Advent challenge. And at that time, this one was opened up just for the women at church and stuff. But I had people join a Facebook group. And so I would post a reflection every day that coincided with the theme. And so like week 1 is hope. And so, each day of the week, there was like a little, a verse, a reflection, a verse, a devotion that I wrote. And then I had like a little challenge in it. So the book is formatted really like that, but Advent changes every year, how many days it is. But I've tried to write the book in a way that even at the longest Advent you could have, which is 7 days for the love week, you could do this any year. You just have to time your days, So there will be 7 reflections on hope, 7 on peace, 7 on joy, 7 on love. And it's a verse, a devotion, some reflection questions that you can either answer yourself, do a study with a group, do a Facebook group, and discuss the questions. And then what's probably the most different about it from other devotionals is there's a challenge. And I've tried to make the challenges really unique. It's hard to do things like this because, everybody doesn't have the same, ability. Like you can't say your challenge is to go out and do XYZ if someone is homebound and in their home all the time. So it's like, how do I come up with challenges that pretty much anyone could do, but that are unique and tied to the scripture and the devotion and what's happening. So there's a challenge for people every day to kind of work into it. But the whole point is Christmas is probably my favorite holiday, always has been, but Christmas also can just be so crazy that by the time you get to Christmas, you're either exhausted or it's almost a letdown because of everything. And so I feel like this is a way to hopefully take just a little bit of time every morning or whenever everybody did it and just slow down and reflect on the whole experience of waiting. And because for people who don't know what Advent is, that's essentially...
The waiting is the hardest part.
That is the waiting. Anyway, but it's the waiting in anticipation, of Christ's birth. And that's why you have those reflections and there are Advent candles and a wreath. But even for people, I didn't know about Advent until we went to the Methodist church. That was not something the Baptist church did. And so this whole thing it's not just about Advent. That's the spirit of it. But it's just this preparing your hearts for Christmas, but also really just celebrating and taking those moments to have a little bit of hope and a little bit of peace and a little bit of joy and a little bit of love in each day that leads up to it, from the very end of November and through December up until Christmas. So it's been...
And it's done, right?
It's pretty much. I'm trying to format and do all of that. I mean, it's a lot of work. And unfortunately, mine's longer. I mean, I don't know, but it's just more to format. And so I'm a perfectionist.
Longer than mine.
Well, that's
what it's all about.
Oh my gosh. Yes, it was a competition. I was like, I need to write 10
I think
more
you
pages.
Felt that way.
No, this was already had been in the works, but like what it would be. I mean, mine has to be longer because it's 28 days worth of material. I mean, if you think about it, it has to be because you've got to have enough to fill up those days. So I'm getting there. It's stretched me. It's been, it's hard. And I think it's hard. I don't know if you felt this way, but it's hard to, even in putting those things on Facebook, part of me is like, I don't know if I'll do it because you don't know if people will judge you or misinterpret.
I don't get that.
You don't?
I could not care less if what people thought about my book.
Oh.
It never crossed my mind for a second. Oh, I hope people like it. I hope they don't, da, 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 da. But I'm on this self-publishing Reddit forum, right? And every day, people write stuff about how I just published my book. I'm terrified. Da, 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 da. There's people, they're just in panic mode about it. And I'm like, I don't write anything, but I want to be like, nobody's going to read your book anyway.
Well, that's what I need to tell myself. No one's going to read it, so it doesn't matter.
And the people who read it, being a self-published author, the people who read it are going to people who like you.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to like what you have to say.
I would hope.
And I mean, I've sold a bunch of books. All the reviews have been great, but it's all been by people who know me in some shape or form.
Yeah.
So, for them, I don't think they would have bought it if they didn't like me. And then they read it and they're like, hey, it's actually pretty good,
Right.
And so it baffles me. It never crossed my mind.
Well, I think for me, though, a lot of the things I wrote were like reflections that are very personal at parts of it. And so if you're vulnerable and you share something personal, I'm trying to think of a good example, because sometimes I've written things like when I've done these studies before, and I may write something not because I'm like, I want people to be like, oh, it'll be okay, or give me affirmation or feel sorry for me. But it's like you're writing it as like, this is an example of XYZ. This is a reflection that hopefully takes this scripture and applies it to a real life situation that you may identify with. And so you just always worry that somebody may, at least I do, misinterpret something I wrote, or I don't know. I just don't know how people will take it. And I know I can't control that, but that's for me. I just worry about that. And then I think too, there's just something about, I was kind of reflecting on it because it's funny you said that about nobody will read it. And it's just something about, what makes us want to do it? There's like this drive, I feel like.
I've already started my second book.
Well,
I am probably 80% through with my second book.
Right.
And my goal is to have it, I want to put it out in January. I could probably put it out in November if I really push myself, but I'm going to give it 4 months in between books. So when I started writing Equipped, I had 3 different ideas in mind. So that ended up being the first book. This is going to be the second book, which is a book called Available. And the whole idea and the premise is your greatest ability is availability, and looking at the life of Nehemiah through that. And then I have a third book in mind. And so my plan is, okay, well, I'll put one out in September. I'll put another one out in January. I'll put another one out in May. After that, I don't know if I'll do any more. But I feel like, you know what? I got 3 pretty good stories in mind, and I'm going to go ahead and just knock these 3 out and see what happens. And then I'll probably move on. But
I think that there's like a drive in us that God put in us to want to create something, to put something in the universe. Because I was thinking about this, no one may read it. That's like, in addition to the books, or like I used to blog, or like the women's retreats that I write and get people to help me put together that are so talented. There's like this, you don't know if anybody will show up for any of that. If you write a sermon, you don't know if that's going to be a Sunday that there's, everybody's gone to the beach or whatever, or, it's just, so the people, I'm not artistic. Like I can't really, we've talked about this before. I've tried, but paint or craft. I'm not a baker like Kim that we talked about. I'm not a painter like Melissa. Not a decorator like so many of the women that help like at the retreat. So I think for me, that drive to create comes out in these things, like putting together either like talks and retreats or like writing some sort of thing. But it's an interesting thing because even if nobody read it, I don't know, I felt sort of compelled to write it. Does that make sense? Like you feel like it's one of those things that it is stressful, and it's been a lot of additional work. And there have been times when I'm like, why am I doing this? This feels like it's a waste of time. Like, what is the point? And I think that's one of the hard things in our society. Like, we feel like everything has to have a point. Like everything has to have an outcome. Everything has to, like, I don't know, make money or change the world or do whatever. And it's like, what about creation just for the sake of creation? Like you think about kids who go up there and build a Lego creation or draw something and throw it away. They created it just because we have that desire that drive to create.
Yeah, artists write music or visual arts, paint all the time, and it's never going to get sold. It doesn't, it is what it is. And so,
or there are people who just put together whatever their creative endeavor is, so some people take lots of pictures that nothing will happen with or whatever. And every once in a while something does. And that's great if it moves somebody. But I don't know. I think that's one of those things, you think about different things you're pondering. And I think that's one of the things I'm pondering because I've always been such like a goals-oriented, driven person that it's kind of like, okay, well, I've got to be on a journey somewhere. There has to be an end destination. There has to be a point to what I'm doing. And, there may not be much of a point to this book because in the end, 20 people may buy it and read it. My mom and your mom, me and you, that'll be 4 of them, or whatever. But I don't know. I think it feels better to kind of like have created it and get it out.
Mm-hmm.
So even with the angst, I think there's that piece. So
plus you can add published author to your
I can't wait to do that. Yeah, to trusted speaker, published author,
yes,
lawyer,
yeah,
pastor's wife, whatever my title is now for Read 3. I forget what it is. Mission something.
Whatever you want it to be. You tell me, and that's what it is.
Yes, whatever that is. That's what it is. Yeah. Anyway.
I was sitting there thinking as you were talking, I think years of pastoring a small church, and our church is always, no matter what church I've been, well, I don't know, the last 12 years, our church has been 150 or less, right? I feel like I'm a pretty good communicator.
Yeah.
I would put myself up against anybody, and sermon-wise, everything. So I think when you first start out, you spend all this time writing sermons, hoping that all these people are going to hear it.
Yeah.
And very few ever do.
Yeah.
And so I think over time, that has a way of, in a good way, beating the pride out of you.
Yeah.
To where every Sunday I'm getting up and preaching a book. I mean, there's, however many thousand words I speak in a 30-minute sermon could fill a book.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so every week I'm getting up and I'm giving this talk, and there may be 200 people there. There may be 50 people there. It is. And however many people are there, they may or not even walk out and remember any of it, So I think that's why with this book, it's no different to me than any other Sunday.
Right.
Like,
it may or may not land. It may or may not, Yeah. And you just have to hope the right people read it.
And you get the 2 or 3 people every Sunday that you're like, they'll say it. That's exactly what I needed to hear. And you just learn as a pastor, that's what that sermon was for then, And the same thing with this book. I've gotten a couple of messages that you could tell this is what they needed in their life. And that felt really nice. And if that book was for them, then so be it,
Well, the last thing I thought about too, reflection-wise, because I may not make my Big 12, which is ironic since it was my idea and you're going to make yours and I won't. And we talk about how competitive I am and all of that. But I think the other thing that I've pondered and thought about a little bit too is just like at work, some of the people, we had like a little touch base with the Winston folks, the staff and lawyers. And one of them asked, how's your Big 12 going? And I told them, I was like, I don't know that I'm going to make it, but it made me be much more deliberate in, saying yes but not yes in a bad way. Not yes, because I think that's the other thing. I think we all say yes to a lot of things that make us feel guilty. Like somebody's like, oh, will you come do this? And you're like, I don't want to, but I will. But this was like, I have an idea. And instead of saying no, I'm like, okay, I should do that, or I can put that on my list. It made me say yes and try things because there's some things like the winter sport thing. Yes, I didn't check it off my list, but it's not because I didn't show up to try to ski. And, I did everything that was in my power to make that happen. I can't control, that it was so crowded, I couldn't rent the equipment. And we talked about a little bit in our small group. One of the folks brought up in like doing things, like the hardest thing of all of it seems to be the initiative to just start and to do it. And I think that's been the other lesson, I guess, out of this. Because I think about over my life, how many people I met that were like, oh, I thought about going to law school. I thought about, and it's kind of like, well, there's a lot in between thinking about going to law school and, taking the LSAT and going for 3 years of your life and, doing all that has to be done. And so I guess that's the other thing, the encouraging thing to people. This isn't meant to, but like, there's something to be said for actually not just thinking it, but doing it. And I think that's been both of our lesson in this, because I don't know, would we have done all this if we hadn't felt like, okay, I have a little bit of a time limit here?
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I mean, I thoroughly loved it. I think that's why I got so much done this year is it pushed me to do stuff that I'd always talked about doing, and this gave me the initiative.
But it wasn't pushing you necessarily in a stressful way.
No,
because
it wasn't stressful or guilty.
It's things we want to do. It's things that you're like, I want to accomplish this, not just to check it off my list, but because I put this on my list because I either think it'll be fun or it'll stretch me or it's exciting or it's a growth thing. And so I think that's the difference too. So many things we put on our list are like, go wash the dishes. Well, it's really easy to procrastinate on that. This is stuff that has helped us, I think. And having fun is a worthwhile thing to put on your list, doing things that help you have fun. That's an important thing to build into life.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, people make to-do lists every day.
Yeah.
But it's to do just
the stuff that
mundane,
you can't make yourself do.
I mean, just, And so it's like, we should do to-do lists to go live. And
with some fun, good
I thought
stuff.
of, we just watched Shawshank Redemption with Josh and Maria.
Mm-hmm.
They had never seen it. I tried to get them to watch it before. In Josh's words, that's an old man movie. But we watched it, and they loved it, as everyone does.
Yes.
I've never met anybody who didn't like the Shawshank Redemption. But to steal a line from Andy Dufresne, get busy living or get busy dying.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. That's and that this year has been about let's get busy living.
Yeah.
And
that's not to say, too, that we haven't had, I mean, I just said I had a really bad week. I have times when I'm sad. I have times when it's hard. I have times when I'm like, why am I even doing this? I have times when I'm like, this is stupid or, but like, I think it's something, again, being intentional about the things that matter. And I think that was the other thing about this exercise. People always talk about, like, if you look at your life and you look at how much time you've spent doing certain stuff, well, there's things we can't avoid. If you have to work 10 hours a day to feed yourself and your family, you've got to work 10 hours a day. But I'm talking about things that are within our control. Like, and if I look at my time, because a lot of times people will be like, when do you read all these books? Well, I read all these books because, as we've talked about, I don't know a lot about pop culture because I'm not usually watching a lot of TV or, so it's just about being intentional to make sure you're using your time to do things that are giving you some life, whatever that may be. And most of the time, it's probably not going to be social media, I found.
Yeah. And if there's a time in our society's life that you need to be out actually living and doing good, it is now.
And that, I think, is the thing. And I know we said...
and being productive and being a productive member of society and just loving one another. I mean, it's just now's the time.
Trying to spread a little joy in life, trying to, have some fun here and there with people, love people, show up and be in relationship. I think you're right. This is the time when we can't cancel out all the awful and, there's just bad stuff. I mean, really bad, disturbing, awful things. And if I think about what is in my span of control, it's stuff like that. Yeah. Like I can spend some time with a friend. I can go learn to do something new. I can, encourage somebody. I can have fun. I can create something. Like those are things, God created the world. So I think God appreciates when we create and we live and we love and do those things.
Yep. Well said.
Yeah.
Well, enjoyed it. We've,
did we exceed our time?
We went over a little bit, but that's okay.
I don't know if Sam still listens to us to keep any spreadsheets.
I'm sure he doesn't.
He stopped.
Shelley can just update him.
Okay.
She can give him the cliff notes.
Yeah. Shelley, you let Sam know that we talked about him because we went over a little bit on our time.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been Mike.
And Beth.
And this has been another episode of Hey, Are You Still There? Follow us on Facebook or any of the podcasts.
Leave a review or stars. Only good stuff, though.
Yes. Go buy my book, Equipped. You can find it on Amazon right now, Kindle and physical. And I guess that's about it, right?
Yes, I think so.
All right. Bye-bye.